Hello guys, what is up? Today I'm going to show you probably the most valuable video I've ever dropped on my YouTube channel. I think this is going to be super helpful for you no matter what stage you are in scaling your Google Ads. I'm going to walk you through my entire strategy from beginning to end of a completely new account, how to scale up with Google Ads, how to structure everything, exactly what campaigns to use, the overall strategy at every single step of the process from start to finish. So no matter where you are in your Google Ads account right now, I will be able to help you in some way and show you exactly how you need to structure your account to scale effectively. So I am not going to keep you for too long here. Let's just jump right into the content. So like I say here, my entire Google Ads strategy to scale an ecom brand in 2025 for every account. Now we're going to start from the beginning here with a fresh account. Obviously, if you have a bigger account that needs some more kind of already has some spend going through, already gets some conversions in it, feel free to just skip through to whatever part of the video is relevant to you, but we'll be starting off from the fresh account so you guys can get a full idea of exactly how I scale here. Now, by the way, I really want to give you guys as much value as I can here, so please feel free to drop any questions you may have in the comments along the way. If you get halfway through and you're unclear about something, just pop it down below. I'll respond. I'll help you out. Feel free to book a call with me down below as well if you want some even more information on how to run your Google Ads effectively. But without further ado, let's get right into the content. So first up, with a fresh account, we need 4 primary campaigns to start scaling, right? So you've set up your account, you have a blank screen with 0 campaigns. This is what you need. So first, you need a search campaign that targets branded traffic. Now, the purpose of a campaign like this is to primarily feed data into the Google algorithm. As you probably know, Google is very reliant on automated targeting and automated bidding nowadays, and that is really where most of the money is made in a lot of Google Ads accounts. So feeding your Google Ads algorithm with a lot of data is pretty critical to perform well in most accounts. So getting this branded campaign, which basically targets terms related to your brand specifically. So if your brand name is Peter's Pans, my favorite example on the channel here, then you would want to be targeting people just searching for Peter's Pans in exact match, right? This is exactly targeting people searching for your brand and nothing else. This brings in really cheap conversions, gets you really high ROAS, and really helps feed the algorithm. Now, the other function here is to protect your brand from competitors. So if you have other competitors bidding on your brand name, you can make sure they aren't stealing your traffic and you're keeping that traffic and it's coming through to your website. So you're showing up first whenever someone's searching for your brand name. Very important if you're a larger brand and you have a lot of competitors that are already trying to steal your traffic. You can also boost your SERP rankings if your SEO is poor. So if you're a brand new website, you probably don't have much SEO. If you're a brand new business, you probably don't have very good SEO, and you're probably not even going to show up in results for your own brand name. So you really want to be showing up if someone is searching for your brand name at any stage, and that's where a brand campaign can be very helpful if you have poor SEO. Especially in the early stages, it can really just accelerate your site visitors, your traffic, and then boost up your SEO while acquiring conversions for you. Some tips for this campaign type. Make sure to use manual CPC bidding or target impression share as your bidding strategy, because if you use anything automated, Google will inflate your bids and they'll charge you too much and you'll overspend and your ROAS will drop down. So make sure you're using a manual CPC bidding strategy or target impression share for the best results and highest efficiency possible. Now, this campaign should only take up a very small portion of your budget, typically around 5%. You don't want to scale it too far because it's only, again, it's just to feed the algorithm. It should have a really high return and it should just be a way to get those customers in who are already looking for you. And it should be really cheap to bid on your own keywords in most cases. Now, goal is to always have an exceptional ROAS, like I mentioned. Wants to be really high. It should be the highest ROAS in your account by far. These are your campaigns that have the highest intent traffic. And you want to use exact match keywords, like I said above. Don't use phrase match, don't use broad match, or you're going to get unintended traffic, low quality traffic, non-branded traffic coming through. So only exact match for your brand name. All right, next up, non-branded shopping campaigns. Now, these are the lifeblood of any good account with new customer acquisition. Well, any new account with new customer acquisition. It is going to be your primary driver of new customer acquisition, like I said there. So this is where you are going to show your products at scale to interested customers. Sorry about that. Interested customers. So this is exactly how you're going to show people who aren't searching for your brand what kind of products you offer and how they can purchase them from you, right? So this is someone searching for example, in the example of Peter's Pans, who sells frying pans, this is someone searching for frying pan, and your ad is showing up the top there in the little shopping listing on Google, giving you a photo, a price, the brand name, everything relevant for your product. Now, in a campaign like this, you want to be starting with manual CPC because you don't have any conversion data in the account yet. If you're a fresh account, you won't have any conversion data. So if you try to use a conversion-based bidding strategy like maximize conversions, maximize conversion value, what you'll find is you just won't really get much traction. It'll be really slow. You may get some results, but it's just not the best way to start. Because Google just doesn't know enough about your customers, right? You need to give Google the information and the data before you can ask it to try and find more customers for you. So start with manual CPC, or if you aren't comfortable using manual CPC, you can use maximize clicks. Maximize clicks is just basically, it's similar to manual CPC, but it has less kind of control, can still be helpful, still better than maximize conversions in most cases. Allocate the majority of your budget to this campaign, right? This is your primary driver of new customers. So you want most of your money in the Google Ads account going towards this campaign, usually around 70-80%, right, in the early stages, because this is where all of your genuine, high quality, incremental traffic is coming from. So allocate a good portion over here and do not be afraid to give it some money. Start with just your best-selling products. So this is the best way to start in a fresh account. If you have 100 products in your catalog, even if you have 5 products in your catalog, you usually want to start with the highest quality products first. Now, this is because the highest quality products and the highest performing products, so the ones that have the most sales, the most attention, they are the products that are going to get you the highest conversion rate and the best chance of running a profitable campaign. So starting out with those best sellers and then expanding to kind of all products down the line is usually good practice for these kind of campaigns to make sure that you aren't allocating a huge amount of money to low performing products at the beginning and you're giving yourself the best chance at winning. And then make sure you also exclude branded traffic with negative keywords. So you do not want to have any branded traffic coming into this campaign. If you do, it's going to muddy up your attribution. It's going to give Google strange signals. It's going to make it more difficult to acquire new customers. It's going to inflate your ROAS, make it look better than it is. Long story short, branded negative keywords, right? Negative keywords, exact match for your brand. And in the case of Peter's Pans, you'd be putting in Peter's Pans as your negative keywords, and that will help you a lot. All right. Branded shopping campaign. Now this is optional at this stage of the account. You don't always need it early on. These are the 2 critical campaigns for the very start. And branded shopping is only needs to be brought in certain cases, which I'll explain now. So its primary purpose is to segregate branded and non-branded shopping traffic for attribution purposes. So if you have a completely fresh account with a smaller business, you haven't really advertised much before, you'll probably find that you don't really have many people searching for your brand name, so you don't really need to be running a branded shopping campaign because you just won't get any traffic coming through it. It's kind of useless at the beginning if you're not already running on other platforms. And the purpose of this campaign is almost identical to the branded search campaign, right? So it's just filtering out your attribution, making sure your brand and non-brand is separate, making sure you are protecting your brand name from competitors, you're feeding data into the algorithm, and you're making sure your product always appears when people are searching for you. But like I said, this is only something you really need if you already are getting branded traffic rolling in. So if you advertise, for example, very heavily on Meta, this is a campaign that you would want to have because you want to make sure that anyone searching for your brand name is coming through your branded shopping campaign and not your cold shopping campaign here. So like I mentioned, in the case of a brand like Peter's Pans, you would have people searching for Peter's Pan frying pan, and you want to make sure they're coming through your branded campaign rather than your non-branded campaign to keep attribution very clear, right? Now, some tips for this campaign: use manual CPC in the early stages, very similar to, like I mentioned, with branded and non-branded. Once again, your account just doesn't have enough data, but also when it comes to any kind of branded campaign, if you do let it use conversion-based automated bidding, you will likely get inflated clicks and CPCs. So working with a more manual strategy here is definitely going to be more effective for you when it comes to maximizing your ROAS and making sure that you aren't wasting any money on this campaign. Again, this is only a small portion of your budget that you should be allocating here. Once again, it should have a really high efficiency, similar to search branded, and you should start with just your best-selling products. And the primary way that you create one of these branded search campaigns, or branded shopping campaigns rather, it is a little bit more difficult than a branded search campaign because shopping runs on your GMC listings for targeting rather than keywords. So essentially, if you have your non-branded shopping campaign with all your brand negative keywords in here, so it can't target your brand traffic, and then you create another shopping campaign without any negative keywords at all, most of your branded traffic will filter through to this campaign in majority of cases, especially if you are down the line using a conversion-based bidding strategy and you have a higher TROAS on this campaign. Again, it's going to force that high quality traffic through. But the best way to run a branded shopping campaign is with a custom script. Now, you can Google branded shopping script for Google Ads, and there will be plenty of options across the web that you can download. You just need to get a script that essentially puts in all the negative keywords possible except your brand name in the shopping campaign, which means that only your brand traffic filters through, and it effectively lets you segregate your non-branded and branded traffic. Right. Again, a little bit complex, but all you have to do is search branded shopping campaign script Google Ads on Google, and you will find a solution to effectively segregate that traffic. All right, now the non-brand search campaign. So the purpose of this campaign is to increase your presence in search results with the additional listing types. So obviously, we're using shopping as our primary driver here. However, having a search campaign as well and search listings can also really help boost up your general real estate across Google, right? Your real estate across the search results and making sure that you have all of the listing types possible. Now, this is optional in the early stages of an account. It allows you primarily to capture more general category-based inquiries. So if someone's searching for frying pans, right, they probably don't know exactly what they want. They're not searching for 15-inch titanium non-stick frying pan, right? They know exactly what they're looking for there. But if they're searching frying pans, they probably want to browse a category or a collection. So if you can propose a search ad there when someone searches frying pans, and you just have the singular search ad there that leads to your collection and shows people frying pans, then that can sometimes be more effective, right? And that is the case where you'd want one of these search campaigns. Also, if you have a super high performer, I'll get to this in a moment, but there's a couple other reasons as well. Anyway, you want to be starting with manual CPC, as always, or maximize clicks if you like. You can use maximize clicks on this campaign because it is not branded, but manual CPC is always the best at the beginning of an account. Only use this campaign type early on if you have high ticket products. That's another good case for it, right? So if someone is searching for example for a greenhouse, right? Obviously a high ticket product, $500 and upwards. People typically want to browse. They typically don't know exactly what they expect. And you also often just perform better with search ads for high ticket products. I definitely recommend it. Or if you have super high performance, so if you have one product that really stands out and there's a lot of people that search for it, has really high search volume, again, you'd want a search ad there. Or if you have advertorial style landing pages or heavy category search bias. So advertorial style landing pages is basically, it allows you to target more top of funnel traffic with these search campaigns, right? So for example, let's say someone's searching for a pretty top of funnel term, like very top of funnel. Why is my food sticking to my pan, right? That's like very top of funnel for a frying pan store. You have a search ad that appears for that, and the search ad says, find out why food is sticking to your pan and how to fix this problem, right? And then you drive people through to your advertorial style landing page, and this is a page where you explain to people, oh, your food's sticking to your pan because it's low quality, it's made of the wrong materials, it doesn't have these special features that our pan does, and you can buy it right here for 50% off, right? And that's like an advertorial style page. Often sells people when they're in that really high, that higher kind of funnel stage. They're sort of researching, so you educate them throughout the page, and then you sell them at the end. That can be really, really helpful. For search ads, can work really well. I recommend that for sure. Now, heavy category search bias, like I said. So if you are in an industry where a lot of people search just categorically rather than for a specific product. So, for example, someone's searching for a hoodie. They're just searching men's hoodies, right? That's a very broad search. They don't really know exactly what they want. And if you give them a category, once again, they can scroll through your collections page and figure out exactly what they want. Okay, make sure you exclude branded traffic with negative keywords. As always, we want to make sure branded traffic is always separate to non-branded traffic throughout the entire account, and this is no exception. All right, now we're at 15 to 30 conversions a month. I hope if you have implemented this structure effectively and correctly, you probably will get some conversions coming into your account, which is great. Once you reach 15 to 30 conversions a month, you can start to leverage automated bidding in a lot of cases, right? So here's what we're going to change in each of our campaigns, and here's what we're going to add. First of all, in the branded search campaign, You want to maintain a very similar setup. You don't really need to change much. Branded search never really changes much, nor does branded shopping from the beginning of the account. So maintain a similar setup. Just review your traffic to make sure you are just driving fully branded traffic. You're not getting any non-branded stuff in there, and it is still extremely targeted on your brand name. Review your CPCs and your bids for manual CPC. Make sure that you're bidding the right amount. You're not bidding too much, you're not bidding too little, and you're showing for all the required searches. For your non-branded shopping campaign, the major adjustments that you want to be making are transitioning to maximize conversion bidding strategy, or maximize conversion value, actually. Let's say that. Fix it up for you. So you want to be using the maximize conversion value bidding strategy in here once you reach 15 to 30 conversions a month, because in most cases, the algorithm will outperform your manual CPC efforts. What I find is that manual CPC can still work, but in most cases, you're going to have a much better time just going with automated bidding, using it effectively, and really just feeding the algorithm with the right data. It's much more scalable. It can become very difficult to scale manual CPC, especially if you have a large catalog. I really do just recommend leaning strongly towards the automated bidding as soon as you reach 15 to 30 conversions a month. Google's algorithm has really developed over the last few years, and it's really powerful now, and it performs a lot better than it used to. So I find in most cases, this is the best way to go for most people running Google Ads accounts. All right, once you transition over to maximize conversion value bidding strategy, you don't want to TROAS yet. You're still probably a little bit too early for that. So just keep it on maximize conversion value, let it push as many conversions as it can through. Often you will actually find a lift in conversions when you transition to this strategy, because once again, Google is leveraging more data points. It's not simply putting in a manual bid that you give it. It's now modulating bids depending on the user, the time of day, the demographics, whatever it may be, right? So it takes everything into account and it often does a better job. Now, make sure you also review your product budget allocation and segregate top performers if necessary. So if you find that you have a lot of your spend going towards one or two products, which tends to happen in these shopping campaigns, let's say all of your spend's gone towards one product and it's doing well, but none of your other products are getting any spend. What you want to do is just leave that product in that campaign and disable all other products, create a new shopping campaign where you run all those other products, and then let Google push spend towards them, and then wait until you find another winner in that campaign, then graduate it up to the bestsellers campaign, which is one that you left at the beginning, and then just rinse and repeat that process until you have a selection of bestsellers that are pumping a lot of volume through, and then you have your testing campaign where you can constantly test products, rotate through, and find additional winners. And that is typically a good process to scale these shopping campaigns, right? Now, branded shopping, no major changes required here, just the same stuff as branded search. Maintain a similar setup, review your traffic, and review your CPCs and bids. Make sure everything's aligned. Now, for your non-brand search campaign, again, you can shift over to maximize conversion value, and this will allow you once again to leverage that automated bidding and hopefully drive some additional conversions. Also review your keyword performance and match types and adjust accordingly. So if you find that certain keywords are performing much better than others, keep them on. If you find some performing really poorly, remove them. If you find that some are going a bit too broad, when you look at your search term insights, you're finding that some of your search terms are really loosely related or unrelated, then exclude whatever keywords are causing them, or consider changing the match types, right? If you are running broad match, pull back to phrase. If you're running phrase match, pull back to exact, right? I don't think I mentioned it, but I generally recommend going with phrase match for a non-brand search campaign like this. Sometimes exact match, totally depends on how tight you need to go and how broad Google wants to go. So adjust depending on the metrics and data you're seeing in the account. All right, and then what we are adding at this point in the piece is a remarketing focused PMAX campaign. So now that you have these conversions coming through to your account, like I said, you can start to leverage Google's automated bidding. You can also start to leverage Google's AI-powered algorithms, which are primarily inserted within PMAX campaigns, right? Now, these PMAX campaigns are very powerful. They can get you a lot of conversions. They can drive a whole lot of traffic and a whole lot of volume, but you need to use them the right way. The main purpose of the PMAX campaigns at this point in the account should really be to remarket to users who have entered your funnel via your cold prospecting campaigns. So you have your non-brand shopping and your non-brand search where your users come in, and then you have the PMAX that follows them up, remarkets to them over time. And this is going to be the main purpose of the campaign at this stage in the account. Now, this also allows you to increase your number of touch points and utilize Google's algorithm, right? So basically, if you're running a search campaign or a shopping campaign, let's say you have a shopping campaign, someone searches for a frying pan, they click through your shopping campaign, they come onto your website, they have a look around, they choose not really to buy today, and they just kind of get distracted and they leave your site, right? And then they never search for you again. If you didn't have a PMAX campaign, they'd probably forget about you within a few days. If you do have a PMAX campaign, that campaign then can potentially follow that person across the internet, so it can find them on another website with a display ad, it can find them on YouTube with a video ad, it can find them in their search results, in their Gmail, it can find them anywhere, and continue to bump them and nudge them, saying, hey, do you want to buy this pen? Do you want to buy this pen? Until eventually they go, oh yeah, let's buy it today, right? So this can be a really effective strategy and a really effective campaign for remarketing, but there are a few things you need to do right. You need to, first of all, exclude branded traffic. That's the biggest one here. If you have branded traffic within your PMAX campaign, what you're going to find is it just biases completely towards your branded searches because it's the easiest conversions, easiest way to get high ROAS. So you need to exclude branded traffic at this point in the campaign. You can sometimes keep it in, but I generally don't recommend it for beginners because you'll just find that a lot of your budget is going towards branded campaigns, branded traffic rather. So exclude branded traffic using negative keywords the same way you would in a non-brand shopping or non-brand search campaign. Now allocate a smaller portion of your budget here, but more than branded. So you're probably looking at around 15 to 20% of your budget into this campaign, potentially more, depending on what kind of ROAS you're getting, depending on how these campaigns are going. You can really shift this one, up and down depending on what your account calls for. And start off with a maximized conversion value bidding strategy without a target ROAS. So we don't want to be using a target ROAS yet, once again, because we aren't getting enough conversions through the account at this stage. However, once you reach 30 to 50 conversions per month in the account, this is a point where I definitely would recommend using a target ROAS. You could even do it a little bit earlier potentially, but this is usually a good metric for most accounts. Again, if you're a high ticket business and you only do 10 to 15 conversions and still generate a lot of revenue with that, sometimes you can consider implementing this stuff earlier, but generally this is a good kind of ballpark to work with. Now, what are we changing and what are we adding at this stage? First of all, branded campaigns. They are staying the exact same, no changes needed. Our shopping and non-branded campaigns, what we need to do here is consider setting a TROAS goal for your campaign if it is observing a reasonably consistent ROAS. So, like I was saying here, we can start to introduce our target ROAS, which allows you to pick and tell Google what kind of ROAS you want to achieve on the campaign, right? Now, it doesn't exactly work like that. If you say, Google, I want a 300% ROAS, it won't necessarily give it to you. But let's say you're getting a 400% ROAS already on the campaign, and you say, I only want a 300% ROAS. It's going to be more aggressive with its targeting. It's going to find more broad potential customers for you, and it's going to go out and prospect more. But if you say, actually, I want a 500% ROAS, then it's going to pull back on the spend. It's going to go tight and try and find the exact customers that are most likely to purchase your product. So this allows you to kind of modulate. A T-ROAS allows you to essentially modulate the targeting and how broad you want to go on your targeting within the campaign. Now, branded shopping campaigns, no adjustments needed. Keep them similar as to the last structure. Our non-brand search campaigns, again, we can consider setting a T-ROAS in here. Same thing as non-branded shopping. This allows you to tell Google whether to go more aggressive with prospecting or more reserved and more kind of sticking to your safe, known customers. And that's a primary function of T-ROAS. But consider setting it if you are getting consistent ROAS figures. Now, this is something I didn't mention on this tab here, but once you are getting a pretty consistent ROAS, so let's say you're getting a constant 3 to 350% ROAS every week. It's fluctuating a little bit, but generally hanging around that level. That's a perfect time to introduce a T-ROAS. It means you're already getting pretty consistent performance, but you can tell Google to kind of modulate in either direction, go a little bit more aggressive, a little bit less aggressive, depending on what your priorities are at that point. Now, the PMAX with a remarketing focus, once again, consider setting a T-ROAS goal for the campaign if it is observing reasonably consistent ROAS figures. Same thing as our other campaigns here, just adding T-ROAS, nothing too crazy. And now, one campaign which you could consider adding here is a new customer acquisition and scaling PMAX, right? So we have this PMAX primarily for marketing, but once you're getting 30 to 50 conversions a month, you can start to kind of utilize PMAX to actually find new customers for you in most cases. It can do it earlier on as well, but this is usually the best kind of point to consider using this campaign for new customer acquisition. And it can increase your new customer acquisition efforts by leveraging PMAX effectively, right? Using all of your placements across the entire Google network and all of the AI-powered algorithms to target effectively. Primary tips for a campaign like this is, once again, you need to exclude your branded traffic. You want to test this one alongside your standard shopping campaigns to find out which one works better. So you may find that standard shopping performs better than PMax. If it does, just keep working with standard shopping, keep pushing standard shopping rather. But if you find after introducing another PMax campaign that it seems to get a decent amount of high top of funnel traffic, non-branded traffic, and kind of new customer traffic, then that's a point where you could consider scaling them if the ROAS is good. If you're not getting branded traffic and you think it is actually incremental, really helpful here to have tools like Triple Whale, like Hyros, or like any kind of third-party attribution software that allows you to figure out how much incrementality your campaigns actually have. At this point, everything gets quite blurry if you don't have a third-party attribution tool, because all of your campaigns are sort of doing little bits of remarketing here and there. There's some branded traffic leaking through, and things become very muddy. So it can really help to have a third-party attribution to figure out exactly where your customers are coming from, where your new customers are coming from, where your existing customers are coming from, and just breaking everything apart there. So I do definitely recommend using it at this point, especially if you're going to be using PMax campaigns for new customer acquisition, because they are notoriously difficult to see the inside targeting, right? So if you want to see inside a PMax campaign, you basically can't. There's some things you can do, like you can use scripts to figure out kind of placements, but ultimately PMax is very opaque, and they really try and obfuscate all of the potential insights that you could gain when it comes to new customer acquisition. So I definitely recommend using a third-party attribution tool once you reach a stage. But beyond that, all that being said, you can absolutely use PMax for new customer acquisition. And yeah, at this level of scale, PMax will lean more towards prospecting because it's saturated a lot of its remarketing audiences, and that's why it becomes effective at this level of the account. All right, now 50 plus conversions per month. So this is the highest level of the account as far as I'm concerned when it comes to structure. And for 90% of accounts, this structure here is pretty much everything you'll ever need. Pretty much everything you'll ever need in Google Ads to effectively run a profitable account. So we have branded search, same. Shopping non-branded, same. Shopping branded, same. Non-branded search, same. PMax remarketing, same. PMax new customer, same. Finally, we're introducing demand gen here, right? So demand gen is your tool to massively increase your top of funnel traffic and new customer acquisition. It allows you to advertise to cold audiences en masse. So essentially just view it as another version of Meta, but you actually have a slightly bigger network. So it's like you're advertising on Meta, but it's over on YouTube, right? So on YouTube, you have YouTube Shorts, obviously. You have vertical format, similar to Meta. You have YouTube long form videos, horizontal format. So you have a lot of different options for how you can create demand gen ads. And it totally depends on what kind of content your brand has and what content you're capable of producing. But I definitely recommend, if you only have vertical content, I definitely recommend testing with horizontal because it can do really well. Now, you only want to use this campaign type when you have a very solid basis of conversion data. You already have a lot of conversion data in the account to inform the algorithm and help you find the right customers and help you find the right customers through cold traffic. Obviously, it's much harder to get conversions through cold traffic because these people haven't expressed any interest in your brand, unlike all of the other campaigns, which are intent-based, right? This is just basically people who are scrolling through YouTube and they're getting hit with an ad out of nowhere, similar to Meta, right? Now, if you want to win with this kind of campaign type, you need to rotate your creators frequently and scale your winners. Seems obvious on the scaling winners front, but rotating creators frequently is tough and it requires a lot of output. So if you can't handle a lot of content output, I don't recommend moving into this campaign type. It really can take some time and some testing to find winners in here. Although winners do last a little bit longer typically on Google compared to Meta, it can be hard to find them, especially in demand gen these days. It is getting a little bit tougher than it used to be in the past. Now, make sure you're reusing proven meta ads creatives. So if you have proven meta ads, definitely run them on YouTube, test them, see if you can get a similar performance, see if you find any additional winners over here. Although the content that succeeds kind of varies between platforms, you will find some overlap there where your meta ads, your proven meta ads that perform well, can also do so over on the Google side. All right, and that is everything for the structure. Now I want to show you quickly a live example of how I use this structure in a real account. This is some data from the last 30 days of one of the accounts that I'm currently running. We can see that I've employed the exact structure above in this very account. Now this is only some of our campaigns. These are only our US campaigns. We are running also in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, as you can see here, UK as well. But we have I've just grouped in the US campaigns here to kind of show you my structural breakdown. And again, with that entire structure, you can break that out into geographical regions, however your brand requires. If you want to group in regions, that's fine. If you want to separate by country, that's also fine. Totally depends on how your brand operates. But you can see here we have our branded search campaign, right? Like I said, the highest ROAS, the best performance, and often the most conversion value, right? Especially if you're running on Meta as well, you'll get a lot of conversion value coming through this campaign. And it only makes up a fairly small amount of the budget. If you were to look at the budget of the entire account, like I said, this is only the US. If you look at the entire account, there's a lot more spend. So it probably only does make up about 5-10%. Actually, it'd be about 5%, yeah. So definitely aligned with the recommendation I gave you above. Then we have a PMax cold campaign here. So this is promoting specifically a Father's Day bundle for this brand in the USA and Canada. Now, again, this is a PMax campaign that aims to target cold traffic. So we're excluding branded traffic in here. We're letting it scale and find us our new customers. We used to run shopping campaigns in this account, but since we're getting so many conversions coming through the account now, I've transitioned entirely to PMax campaigns for all of our scaling. So we actually don't need to use shopping right now. Again, I recommend starting with shopping, testing PMax, and then if you're finding that PMax is incremental, it's working well, that's when you start to transition over to your PMax. And after enough time in the account, you can consider a PMax only structure without any kind of shopping campaigns. Then we have our US PMax campaign, which is just running cold to the US without this Father's Day bundle. It's just the standard products. Then we have our shopping branded campaign, like I mentioned before, which is just taking in all the shopping branded traffic from these regions. And then we have a demand gen, and demand gen is doing pretty well right now. It's at a 3.3 ROAS. However, it's still very early days with the spend. This is a new campaign, but it's looking pretty good. Demand gen vertical format in the US and Canada. So that's a live example of exactly how I deploy the structure in accounts. And I hope you found this video helpful, because I truly have broken down my entire account structure here. There's not a single thing I've hidden. Obviously, there's some details on setting up the campaigns themselves that I haven't covered in this video. However, you can probably find it in my old videos. I do go over how to set up almost every campaign in Google Ads. So if you have any confusion, please just drop a comment below. I'm happy to help you out there. Otherwise, if you want me to set up this entire system within your account for a one-time fee, and then you can just run it all yourself after with our specific and in-house built AI agentic systems, which are really cool, by the way. They can perform really well and give fantastic recommendations. Please feel free to book a call with me down below if you're interested in anything at all. Happy to help out. And once again, leave a comment if you have any questions for me. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.